It's Thursday, first pitch. Tony, Finn joining Dave Cokin and myself. And like always, you can find this show at our WagerTalk channel, WagerTalk TV on YouTube, as well as at WagerTalk and Sports Memo. Tony, how are you, man? It's been a while since you've joined us.
Yeah, I thought I got fired. Haven't seen you in a while, but it was good to hear you ping me last night and said, let's talk some baseball. I'm glad to be here.
Well, we had a vote,
Yes.
and you almost got fired. The audience spoke.
Yes.
It was about 90% fire him, but I needed it to be unanimous.
Okay. Well, that's I think that's good for me.
Dave, what's going on, brother?
I stayed up almost all night watching the British Open, which I really love that tournament. So, having a fun day so far. We'll find some time to sleep later.
Isn't today Thursday? Did the British Open started on Wednesday?
Like every golf tournament starts on Thursday.
Yeah, but isn't today Thursday?
It's
in Britain. They're kind of ahead of us on time, you know.
Damn, I'm an idiot.
Only in time are they ahead of us. That's it.
Oh, look at you, Tony. So how did it go, Dave? How did Koepka do?
Last I checked, he was already tied for the lead.
Yeah, he was 10-1 odds. We should have spoken about that, too. The guy's won 4 of 8 majors. His caddy has played that course 1,500 times. Did you make a wager?
Oh, I'm involved. I didn't play Koepka, but, you know, I go more for price in golf. So a couple of my guys doing fairly well so far. We'll see.
Good. Excellent. Boys, let's get to it. No promos today. No business to talk about. We'll just go straight into the St. Louis-Cincinnati game. St. Louis, they're the dog. Cincinnati minus 121. The line hasn't moved. The over and under 9.5. There are a few tens on the board. St. Louis won 3-1 the last game. They've won 3 of their last 4. And they're in the chase. They're in the thick of things. Dave, talk to me.
Well, Dakota Hudson's been okay for the Cardinals. He got off to a terrible start this season and really looked like he might get knocked out of the rotation or sent to the minors, but he straightened himself out and has done reasonably well. He can still look, as long as he's got his sinker working, he's tough. He throws the two-seamer. It's an effective pitch for him. Tanner Roark's been reasonably. He's been typical Tanner Roark for the Reds. The same pitcher he was in Washington. He's pretty steady. Now, the one thing here is on the Cardinals, if you're looking for a little edge, they're 9-1 in Hudson's last 10 starts. So they've been playing really good ball when he's on the mound, and that would point me a little. That's really the only standout thing for me here. So that would point me a little bit toward the dog in this game.
He's Dave Cokin. Tony, Finn, you're up next. St. Louis, Cincinnati. Where are you going in this one?
Hudson does, as the King just spoke, have to have his sinker working. He's got a 16% strikeout rate. He's got almost an 80% contact rate, only a less than a 10% swing and miss rate, a swinging strike rate, and in his hard contact, his average velocity off the bat, the opposed almost 90 miles an hour. This is a guy that pitches to a lot of batted ball luck, and if the sinker's not working, then he's a lot like Roark, in my opinion. But neither one of these guys are very trustworthy, and the line's about right. It's you got a veteran against a young guy who's on the road. So I see very little edge in this game at all.
This one should be a fun series, Dave. Atlanta hosting Washington. Both teams absolutely on fire. Yep. Washington just beat Baltimore 8-1. They've won 5 of 6, 8 of 10. Atlanta has also won 8 of 10. Both these teams, Atlanta killing it right now in their division. But Washington 6 games back. Washington in wild card position. This should be just a doozy of a series. You got Washington at -1 anywhere, or they came out at 121. There's a 130 on the board. The over and under is 9.5. I'll give you my thoughts after. What do you like?
I think that's a little cheap on Strasburg, who's pitching great baseball. And I've been mentioning a lot about hard hit percentage. I believe he's number one among qualified starters in the lowest hard hit percentage, which is 25.7% for the year, which is, boy, I mean, that is spectacular. And that means you've got to find a way to manufacture runs against Strasburg because he's not going to give up a lot of big shots. I think there's a definite edge for Washington on the mound with Strasburg over Tehran, and it is a play I'm definitely considering making. I have a suspicion this one might end up on my card.
Yeah, Dave, I'm with you on Washington here. I mean, if you're going to get one of the best pitchers in good form at such a small price, you don't overthink it. Take it and run. Tony, where are you going in this one?
Listen, Tehran is a guy that always pitches. His underlying peripherals are always better than his surface numbers. He's another guy who's I think has pitched extremely well this year. It's unfortunately in this game, it's whether you trust Washington or not. I don't trust Washington. The run they went on prior to the All-Star break was against some sub-500 teams. They are hitting right-handed pitching fairly well. So if this game is going to be close, it's going to be because they get to Tehran. Basically, they're going to get to Tehran. I would agree with you guys completely. And Strasburg's the only way to go here if you're going to be on this game, in my opinion.
My suspicion is that if I do play it, and I haven't played it yet, if I do play it, it's probably going to be a first five play. Okay. The Washington pen remains.
I agree. Yeah.
Not so good.
Doolittle. If you trust Doolittle, you're in great shape. I like.
Well, the problem is getting to Doolittle.
True. Very true.
If Strasburg goes 6, if Atlanta uses up his pitch count and he only goes 6, now you got 2 innings to sweat with what is not a great bullpen. I haven't made my mind up. I'm going to do something with the Nationals. I just haven't decided what.
A Milwaukee, Arizona. A Milwaukee tied with Philadelphia for that last wild card spot. Arizona 1 game back. The wild card race in the NL is juicy as hell. Should be a really fun run till the end. Arizona playing better ball right now than Milwaukee. They just beat Texas 9-2. Yeah. They've won 5 of their last 7. Milwaukee's struggling. They've lost 5 of their last 7. And you have a situation here where the home team, I mean, it's basically a pick'em. Kelly versus Davies. It's -110 to Arizona. The over and under 9.5 in this game. I like the over in this game. Dave, I'll go to you first.
Well, the Diamondbacks are playing the better baseball right now. I don't think there's much question about that. Milwaukee is struggling. They almost blew yesterday's game. And in the process, they used up their most valuable bullpen guy, so he won't be available. The negative here is that Zach Davies is on one of his rolls.
On fire right now.
Yeah, I mean, his last 3 starts have been really good. And Davies is a guy who I want to be – his metrics are never going to be any good. He just doesn't fit the 2019 profile for what makes a good starting pitcher. And yet he's a guy who defies the metrics, so – I have a tendency to wait for him to go bad and then try and capitalize. And I did this and made some money going against Davies for a few starts. Now he's back in form again, and that worries me some. But the spot favors the Diamondbacks, and I would lean that way.
Merrill Kelly. Tony, talk to us.
Davies is exactly what Dave just said. This is a guy who doesn't miss a lot of bats. He doesn't walk a lot of guys. He does everything really. I think a little bit above average. An 0.55 ERA over his last 3 starts for a guy who pitches to a ton of batted ball luck that we're talking about. So in this situation at Chase Field or at Brewers in Milwaukee, that's a tough place to play. So he has pitched well. The other side, Merrill is a rookie, and he's another guy who does nothing above average. I mean, all he does is put the ball over the plate, and if he's successful, he's getting some ground balls, and the balls are being hit to whose defense in the backside of him. But he's a 30-year-old kid, so calling him a 30-year-old kid, he's 30 years old. So calling him a rookie is also kind of an oxymoron per se. And I will agree, this is the toss-up. You're supposed to like Arizona if they can get any kind of pitching out of Merrill Kelly. Then I think they win today. I really do. They are playing the better ball, and I think Milwaukee overachieved last year, and the pitching staff is not good enough. They're not playoff quality material, in my opinion.
San Francisco Giants, they just keep winning. They swept Colorado, and they did it handily, 19-2, 2-1, 8-4 on the road. They've won their last 4 games. 7 of their last 8. They're the hottest team in baseball right now. They're playing the Mets, who have won their last 3 games and are sitting only 5 out on the wild card. Dave, we spoke about this earlier this week. Both you and I agree the Mets aren't going anywhere, but San Fran is only 2.5 games back. I don't know where this came from. The line opened at -110. Pitching duel and a half. Baumgartner versus Syndergaard. I like San Fran in this game. You know, I get that Syndergaard is an amazing pitcher, but like with Strasburg, I think Baumgartner is a monster. I'm getting a short price, and I'm just going to go with it. And on top of that, San Francisco's just playing incredible baseball right now. And they're hitting the ball, too.
Yeah, they are. The market is catching on and betting the Giants on a frequent basis now. They didn't yesterday. The market was on the Rockies yesterday, and the Giants beat Gray up and got another win and swept a 4-game series at Colorado. I mean, you can say what you want about the Rockies, but that's still impressive on the part of the Giants. Noah Syndergaard's on a little bit of a roll for the Mets. They've won his last 5 starts. I think you might get a pitcher's duel in this one. Total's low, but I think this has a good chance to be a 3-2 type of ball game, and I would look at the under.
And listeners, if you watch this show regularly, Dave gives out totals almost never. So if he likes the under a little,
but I won't be playing it because I just don't play under. I don't play full game unders.
Yeah, we spoke about that, especially with the bullpens this year and the hitting. But hey. There are lots of games going under, Dave. And, I mean, if you look at this one specifically, San Fran 50-40 to the under, to the over, and the Mets 49-35 to the over. So, in this case, I'm with you. I like the under, too, but both teams are playing to the over. So, for me, it's just San Fran or pass. Tony?
Speaking of under, I lost. I had 2 games yesterday. I would have been, I thought I was 2-0, but a 2-out home run in the top of the 9th, or a 2-out 3-run home run in the top of the 9th beat me. I had the under 11 in that Kansas City contest, and craziness. They had a big enough lead that again they didn't bring Kennedy in. So on to this game. If I told you that San Francisco on the season there's only 3 teams that have been more offensively efficient than San Francisco, that being or less efficient, and then Baltimore, Detroit, and Miami. And for the most part, this team has been at the bottom of the barrel offensively. They've hit the ball extremely well the last 2 or 3 weeks, which in turn plays well to them because despite their starting pitching, even if they get average pitching from their starters, I think they have the best bullpen, top to bottom, in all of baseball. So if Bumgarner pitches well today, they have a chance to win. And both these guys, to mention, I think Strasburg and Bumgarner are both items that these 2 teams are going to consider selling in the next 2 weeks. Just my opinion.
You know, I wonder what the Giants are going to do because it's almost a situation where, from the GM standpoint, he probably would have. I'm not going to say he would have rather seen them lose these games, but the decision would have been a lot easier.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll move Bumgarner, we'll move whoever else, and get what we can get for prospects, but. You know, they sell out on a regular basis. You don't want to piss off the fans by breaking up a team that's 2 games out of the playoff race. So this is a real quandary for team management because they need to do some rebuilding. But this is Bochy's last year. They sell a ton of tickets. I don't know if they're going to deal them.
Well, I will say real quickly. I'll say this, and that is, I think they look big picture. There may be only 2 games out of the wild card game, but there are 150 games out of first place. And I think right now, if you look at every division in baseball, the top end's stacked. Every single division, whoever the wild card is going to have a tough road to hoe to be competing. And if I'm San Francisco, I'm looking at the big picture. If I can get enough of Bumgarner, I'm going to sell. That's
but with that said, Tony, and one of the things that frustrates me about baseball, you get into that wild card situation, best of 5, you can throw Bumgarner out twice. Any team can beat any team if they've got an ace like that in the wild card. So, on one hand, they're going to be playing the Dodgers, or whatnot, and it's going to be a hard road. But you keep a pitcher like that, and you can win any series.
And here's the other thing, and this also enters into it. The Giants probably will get a better offer now for Bumgarner because of the fact they're winning.
That's right. They will. You're right.
Had it been a situation where, it's time to dump and get what we can get, okay, that's what you do. But now the Giants can say, hey, we don't have to trade anybody. We're in the middle of this pennant race or a playoff race. If you want Madison Bumgarner, you're going to have to pay through the nose to get him. So, that's the upside for the Giants.
Yeah.
You're right. If you're Colorado or you're Arizona or you're a team that's much more desperate to be to make the playoffs for your fans.
How about Milwaukee, Philadelphia?
Yeah, you might.
I think in Milwaukee is really interesting because we've seen in the past that they will go for it. So, and Bumgarner does fit there. This is gonna be fun. We're almost there.
And we got a hard trade deadline this year. And Dave, talk about your favorite team, the Red Sox. I mean, this team's still stacked with prospects and. Man, can you imagine them rolling out Sale and Baumgartner 1-2? Wow.
I wouldn't rule anything out with the Red Sox. Dombrowski's very, very willing to trade prospects, although the Red Sox don't have a lot of prospects right now. He already traded them.
Dombrowski might be the second best GM in the world right now.
Well, he won a World Series last year. That's pretty good.
Yeah, but he's just, you go back with the Detroit and this guy knows how to build teams. He's no Masai Ujiri, but he's super close. Tampa Bay holding the last wild card spot. They got Cleveland and Oakland behind them, and then Boston at 3.5 back.
Can I interrupt you for a second? This is the second game of a doubleheader now. And we don't know who's pitching for the Yankees.
Well, yes, I see there is no lineup even. So I went to bed at 5:30 in the morning last night. Utterly monster night. I drove all the way to my daughter's camp. It was a 3-hour drive. Dave, remember I told you I was driving up to my kids' camp? I needed to hurry yesterday's show. One of our listeners actually commented, "Is your kid at Camp Northland?" Yes. How the hell did that person know that? Where I live, there are 500 sleepover camps. Sleepover camps are the thing in Toronto. This man literally plucked the right camp out of thin air. I was there so late. I got home so late. So I am utterly sucking. So let's get to Detroit and Cleveland, and here we go. I mean, we talk about San Francisco. Cleveland is holding that last wild card spot, but a week ago this team might have been a seller, and Trevor Bauer might have been the man being sold. Yep. And he's starting tonight against Matthew Boyd.
Who is going to get sold.
Yeah, Cleveland is minus 220. The over and under is 8.5. And Cleveland is deadly right now. They've won 3 in a row, 9 of 10. They just whooped Detroit 8-0, 8-6. Detroit's a complete disaster. Lost 6 of 7. Man, I don't see how you can bet the Tigers.
And I agree, except the price. That's an absurd price against a pitcher like Matt Boyd. It just is. he's way too good to be getting that kind. This is one of those games where the value players are going to take the Tigers. They're just going to play the Tigers because Boyd, despite the fact they're 2-9 in his last 11 starts, he's a higher level pitcher, and you just can't lay a price. You can't make money laying a price like that against that caliber pitcher. The problem is you have to play the rest of the Tigers.
Yeah.
And they stink. So to me, it's a game I kind of crossed off right away because there's no chance I'm going to lay that kind of a price. I mean, the value player in me says you're supposed to take the Tigers here, but I don't want to do it. So there's no law that says I have to, and I'm not going to.
No, and I understand. And the other thing to continue your argument, Dave, is that, you know, how good Boyd is, and Bauer has been just a monster over the last few years. He really isn't right now. So I think Detroit is live right now. I agree with you, but I also am hesitant to take them. I mean, they're 29-61 on the season. If you've bet against Detroit, you're up 21 units if you bet against them blind. So, yeah, this game is a stay away from game. Tony?
It is ridiculous. Listen, the problem with, as Dave mentioned, the problem with Boyd is Boyd really has to go 9 innings and pitch well. The bullpen in Detroit stinks. They can't score runs. They're horrible offensively. Cabrera needs to retire. I mean, the whole upside, downside, call it what you want. Bauer's inconsistent, and he's a nutcase. On the mound, if you get to him early, you can get to him because he's a wreck on the mound. He's an emotional mess typically when he's pitching, and very easily angered, very easily frustrated. But there's no comparison. If there's one team right now that I think can catch the division leader, I think Cleveland has the ability to catch Minnesota. It's one of the only ones I like. True. So that said, I still can't play Cleveland minus 800.
No, yeah, I would say if you want to make a play in this game,
yeah,
what you do is play Boyd and Bauer under in the first 5 innings.
That's a good point. I like that. Yeah.
You know, I mean, we were talking about a team catching the division leader, and, you know, we've got Oakland playing in Minnesota tonight, and here you have a situation where Houston was just running away with this division, and now Oakland is only 4 games back. Minnesota was running away in this division, and now Cleveland finds themselves only 4 games back. This is a big series for both these teams tonight, and you've got Minnesota at minus 128 with an over and under of 10.5. Gibson versus Fears. Dave, I'm going to go to you first on this game. You know, I think we're looking at a stone cold under here. We've got a 10.5 on the board. We've got 2 good pitchers. I like the under.
I don't disagree with that. Oakland's won 6 of Fire's last 7 starts. Twins going back to last season are 15-6 when Gibson pitches. So he's done well. He's been pretty effective. In fact, he's been very effective at home. His game score average at home is really good. Fire's not as good on the road as at home, but in pretty good form, I would say. I could see that. Looking at the under, as far as the side goes, I don't know what to do. I think it's priced just right. I'd make Minnesota about 130 here. That's about what they are. So you just move on.
But it'd be interesting if Oakland has the kahunas to go get Baumgartner. You know that ain't going to happen. But
they don't go after real big pieces.
Yeah.
They go after the Homer Bailey types, to be honest, that Billy Beane sees something in, and you can get him cheap. And so far, so good. Bailey pitched well in his debut for Oakland, and they got a win. And Beane's as smart as it gets in terms of finding ways to acquire players without it costing them anything.
Yeah. Totally off topic, and we'll get back to this game. Would be so interesting to see a team like Oakland win it all. I mean, you have the Raptors led by only 1 superstar, not a super team. And then you have Oakland, and then you have the St. Louis Blues. And I mean, all 3 teams really defying what sports in North America is today. The St. Louis Blues built bottom up, not top down. Oakland has been that way for 20 years. And the Raptors are that way as well. It would just be it would just be something unbelievable to see. Anyway, Tony, what do you like in this game?
I think Houston can play 500 baseball the rest of this season and win this division going away. Oakland has overachieved, in my opinion. They're a team that let's give them kudos. They've hit the ball. Oakland Coliseum, which isn't Oakland Coliseum anymore, is pitcher friendly. The foul grounds are the size of the Grand Canyon, but unfortunately, Fears may be the most inconsistent or the most streaky pitcher in the history of baseball. This is a guy that's pitched 2 no-hitters, and I'll tell you, 1 week you'll hear me say this guy should be cut, sold, don't have him on your fantasy roster, and the next week he pitches a no-hitter. I'm telling you, right now he's pitching fantastic. I think 8 quality starts in a row. Let's see what happens. I don't think Oakland can catch Houston. I think Houston is finally healthy. They're finally together, and they're top to bottom so much better than Oakland. It's stupid. But this is baseball, so here we go.
L.A. Angels, 9 games back on Houston in the division. In the wild card standings, 5 back. They still got a lot of work to do. But, Dave, we've been talking about this team for the last 2 weeks since the tragedy of Skaggs. And they've rattled off 5 wins in a row, including 2 beautiful wins against Houston, 7-2 and 9-6. And Houston's in a little bit of a funk right now. Not terribly so, 5-5 in their last 10, but that's not the Houston we know. It's Miley versus Harvey tonight. Harvey, my God. I can't believe we're still discussing this guy. Came out at minus 160. It's been bet down to minus 149. You have an over and under of 10 on the board. And, I'm going to tell you flat out, obviously I like Wade Miley. This is a good pitcher. But the Angels are hitting. And I said this at the beginning of the week. Play the overs in the Angels games. This team is hitting the ball. They will hit against Miley. Harvey might make it through the first out. This game's going over the total. This is my favorite over. This is my favorite total on the board. Over. Dave?
Yeah, it looks like the Angels might have Trout back in the lineup tonight, so I would check that. But the indication after last night's game was that he thinks he's going to play tonight. So that does, I believe, explain the line move in the game, because he's certainly worth 10 cents more than that to the Angels. Miley, the Angels aren't great against lefties, but Miley's going to give up a few runs. He always does. Harvey pitched well his last time out, but I don't think you can put any faith in him. Yeah, the over sounds like it might be playable. I didn't do anything with the game, but I'm not going to go against that.
Tony Finn, take us home.
First off, Miley is ground ball heavy, and that's a bad matchup for the Angels, who are, when they face pitchers that have a 48 to 52% ground ball rate, as Miley does, then they struggle, and they do. And they struggle against left-handers. They shouldn't struggle against left-handers, but they struggle against left-handers. Look at the numbers. The splits are ridiculous. And Miley's splits are really ridiculous. On the road, he's got like a 4.5. At home, he's like a 1.8 or 9. I'm not sure exactly. But I like Miley tonight. I think that what do you want to call it? The emotion of Skaggs and the Angels. It takes a little toll on you when you win like they did and go through what they did. And I think they're going to have a little bit of a morning hangover, and I don't mean more. You know what I mean by morning hangover. So that I like Miley. I like Houston. I like Houston moving forward.
Okay, everybody. Tony likes Houston. Dave, thanks for joining again, dude. Every day, I love seeing you, brother. Tomorrow, you, me, and Brian Leonard. Tony, you're the best. We'll try to get you on for next week. But listeners, I know you guys are putting up, hey, where's Teddy? Where's Marco? Where's Tony? Where's Hakeem? Where's Rob Vino? We've got so many incredibly talented guys, and especially in baseball. I mean, we haven't even seen a Ralph Michaels sighting in 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
And Ralph's tough to miss.
Yeah. What?
I hope Ralph's not watching the show.
Yeah, he knows he's hard to miss. Don't worry. The point being, we're getting everyone on.
I'll see Ralph today.
I bet you. Where you guys on? Oh, you got videos? We got videos today?
Ralph's doing the radio show today.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
Enjoy. We got to get Matt Joseph back on. We got to get Dr. Chuck back on. I mean, maybe we should do 2 baseball shows today. Prez out. See you tomorrow, everyone.
Ciao.